Thank you very much once again, the MC of the program, Mr. Usman Ba, Head of Corporate and Public Affairs. The Chairman, DRA Board of Directors, Mr. Ndur, here present, Deputy Commissioner General, Commissioner of Customs, other directors that are here, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to all of you to this press briefing. On behalf of the board and management of the Gambia Revenue Authority, I am pleased to address you today on the authority's revenue performance for the first quarter of the year 2026. I am delighted to report that the authority has recorded a strong and encouraging performance in the first 3 months of the year. During this period, the Gambia Revenue Authority mobilized a total revenue of 7.7 billion against a target of 7.4 billion, representing 3% collections above the target and a positive variance, absolute variance of 247 million. These achievements translate to an average monthly collections of approximately 2.5 billion, underscoring the consistency and resilience of our revenue system. When you compare the revenue performance for the first quarter of the previous year, 2025, the 2026 first quarter performance is an impressive 14% increase above the target and absolute variance of 971 million. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to put this into perspective, the total revenue we collected in just the first quarter of the year is equivalent to what the authority mobilized in the entire year in 2010. 2010, the year 2010, the collections was about 3 billion. And now today, we can proudly say that these collections was done in a single year, single month. That is the month of March. I have some statistics here. From 2006 up to 2010, the yearly collections of GRA is about 3 billion. From 2006 up to 2010. Today, we are collecting in a single month over 3 billion. This is a clear manifestation of the progress we have made over the years in strengthening the domestic revenue mobilization. Our performance is further supported by strong performance across the key revenue systems with both the Customs and Excise and Domestic Taxes Department, registering significant year-in-year growth. In March 2026, we reached a historic milestone by exceeding the 3 billion in a single month threshold for the first time in the history of revenue collection in this country. For us to be able to collect over 3 billion for one single month. We collected over 3.1 billion against a target of 3.0 billion, which represented a 5% performance above the target. This also reflects a 22% increase compared to March 2025, highlighting the sustained upward trajectory of the revenue performance. As you are aware, the authority has been tasked by the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs to mobilize over 28 billion for the year 2026 fiscal year. I am pleased to inform you that our first quarter performance already represents 27% of the annual target, placing us firmly on track to meet and potentially exceed our revenue target. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is possible if everything being, as they call it in economics, all things being equal. You have all seen what is happening in the world today. Life is not as it used to be. So we are saying that all things being equal, we should be able to get the target that is set for us, or even get more than that. But that is only if things remain as they are. As you have seen, what is happening in the development of the world all over, currently the oil prices have gone up. This has affected the entire world. And as we speak, this month we are in April, we are likely to have a subsidy over $300 million, which in simple language means that government is going to forego over 300 million of its revenue to compensate the pump prices that the consumers are going to buy. So this is just the beginning. We don't know what is going to happen the following months that are coming. And that is why I put that quote, all things being equal. If things continue like this, it will be very difficult for us to get closer to what we need to get at the end of the year. Because some of these things are beyond us. It is not within the control of within the Gambia or the government. Things happen in other parts of the world, but the reflections comes over here. So in simple terms, we are foregoing over 300 million from our revenue this month of April. And we hope and pray that everything will go back to normal before we go to the next month, which is May. Otherwise, things might not be as we wanted them to be. These achievements are not accidental. They are as a result of deliberate reforms, strengthened and compliance mechanisms, enhanced enforcement strategies, and our ongoing efforts to digitalize tax administration. We are committed to making tax compliance simpler, more efficient, and more transparent for all our taxpayers. This is our work, and we are committed to it. We make sure that all the taxpayers that are within this country have to make sure that they are compliant in terms of the revenues that they are expected to pay. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the Board of Directors for their strategic leadership and guidance, and for their incredible support in our ongoing reforms. Luckily, we have the chairman here who represents the rest of the board members. We are very grateful to them for the leadership role that they play in getting us where we are today. Both the present and the past board, we are very grateful to them. I also extend my heartfelt gratitude to the management and entire staff of the Gambia Revenue Authority for their dedication, professionalism, and tireless commitment to duty. This performance is direct reflection of their hard work. I have the DCD here, COFC, all the other directors are here. If it is not them, we will not be able to achieve that. It's all due to their professionalism, hard work, and discipline. You all know the work we are doing is not a child's work. It is not easy to mobilize such an amount of money over a single month, and you have to be accountable for everything. It's a serious work, and it takes serious leadership to get what we are today. It takes serious leadership. When it comes to business, business is business. This is what we know, and this is what we do. So I am very much grateful to my management, from the Deputy Commissioner General and the Head of Domestic Sales to the last staff of GRA. They have all played a pivotal role in what we achieved today. And I really want to say thank you very much for an excellent work that you have done. I would also like to thank our stakeholders, both private and public, particularly our taxpayers, for their continuous compliance and cooperation. Their contributions to national development cannot be overstated. As we continue to innovate and transition to a more digital system, I urge you all to remain patient and supportive as we work to improve service delivery and enhance experience with the authority. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would also want to highlight a couple of institutions that have played a pivotal role, a very important role in achieving this revenue that we have achieved. The commercial banks that are in the country, their contribution is immense towards their tax payments or their compliance. We must say a very big thank you to them. More particular, Trust Bank, they have been working with us every other day, and their contribution is recognized by this management, as well as EcoBank. EcoBank management also, they've been working with us greatly. All other commercial banks have worked also, but I have to single out these two banks because they have done extremely well for the past three months or for the past 12 months, because the end of 2025 tax year is end in March 2026. So all other banks have done very well, but I must single out these two banks. Going to the GSM companies that are within the country, I must also say these companies that I want to mention, QCell, Africell, and Comium, they have also done extremely well. Just this last quarter, each of them have paid over $50 million as their payments on just for the last quarter. They've paid more than $50 million towards their corporation tax. And that is different from the other taxes that they have paid. So they are also working with us. And I must say at this press conference that QCell, Africell, Comiums are doing very well. Now we move to the fintechs. One company that we want to single out is the Wave, the Gambia. Wave, the Gambia came into this country not long ago. But I can speak on behalf of Gambia Revenue Authority in terms of their tax compliance. Since their operation up to date, they've been very helpful in terms of their tax payments. Their compliance level is very high. Just to quote a figure for you, this last quarter, their final payment, you know the corporations and businesses, they pay on quarterly basis, their taxes. But come on or end of 31st of March, they do their final payments. Wave have contributed on their final payment over $335 million. Over $335 million. So, as far as Gambia Revenue Authority is concerned, this is a big contribution. And we want to have more of waves in this country. We want to have more of institutions that are tax compliant. Because we know what that means for the country, and we know what that means for the Gambia Revenue Authority. So I want to thank the management of WAVE, from their CEO to the country manager and everybody. And I encourage them to be tax compliant, because they are doing their own quota in terms of development. I also want to say a few other companies like NAWEC. They have been cooperative in the past. They have contributed a lot towards their tax payment, as well as GPA, Gambia Ports Authority. We have been working with them, and they have also been very helpful. This list goes on, but I cannot stop, and I cannot mention everybody. But one area that I cannot leave behind is the audit firms. You know, in the country, the taxes that most of the companies pay, they have to go through audit. And some of the companies have to submit their audited accounts. Some, before the audited account, they bring on what we call management account. But the auditors that are behind the scene, companies like Deloitte and Touch, Gambia, they are really doing a great work in terms of what their assignments. Companies like Accord Associate, Foresight, and Augustus Prom. These, among other companies, they are very helpful in terms of what they do behind the scene. We are the ones seen in front as revenue collectors, but these companies are the ones that audit the company, these private companies. And at the end of the day, we rely on their audits or their audited accounts for the taxes to be paid. So they also play a significant role in terms of their contributing what we are witnessing today. If these companies are not working hard, we may not get where we are today. And that is why I will not do justice to myself without mentioning this audit company. We have a very good working relationship with them, and we will continue to have a good working relationship with them, so that at the end of the day, you know, it's all going towards the development of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I wish to appreciate the board of directors, which I have mentioned before, and the management. I would also like to thank other stakeholders and that have contributed to get us where we are. And finally, on my speech, I wish to acknowledge the government of the Gambia for creating the enabling environment for us to be able to get this, and the support that we are getting. We have undergone through a lot of reforms, and we are able to get all through because of the political support. The political support comes from His Excellency, the President, and his cabinet. They are the people who give us support to be able to achieve whatever we want to achieve. Without the atmosphere, without the support, it will be very difficult for us to get whatever we have today. We have gone through successfully some of the reforms, the successful migration of the Asikuda Wall in 2022, and you have all witnessed the good role or job the Asikuda Wall is doing today. And we are able to go through this through the help of the executive. Construction and completion of the Revenue House. Again, we have built a 3-story building at the head office here. That is where some of my department staffs are, including the Deputy Commissioner General and Head of Domestic Tax. This was also completed in 2022. Provision of fiber optic connection to all DRA offices across the country. This was also done successfully, because we know that we are digitalizing, and if we don't connect our offices with the fiber optic, we will end up having problem with internet. So we have made sure that we have a contract with Gamtel, and they have provided the fiber optic services to all our offices. Construction of a Soma tax office and residence in 2025. At Jara Soma, we also built a 3-story building for our office, Soma tax office, as well as residence for our staffs that are in provinces. Implementation of the e-tracking for transit cargoes. You know, among our reforms, we have what we call e-tracking, so that goods that are coming into this country, they are tracked to their final destination or where they end up paying duty. And goods that are also going out of the country, they are also tracked until at the exit point, so that no dumping, side dumping will happen, no diversion will happen. That also has been done successfully. Implementation of the single window platform for import clearance, that also we are able to go through it, and improvements are still going on in terms of various models that are added to the system. Implementation of the digital way bridge at the seaport. This is also a very, very important project that we have done at the seaport, and it is helping us to account for the weight of goods that are coming in the form of bulk cargo. Prior to the way bridge, it was difficult for us to know exactly how much are imported, you know, at a given time. But with the help of the way bridge at the port, we are able to know exactly each vessel how much they bring in terms of bulk. Also, going further, the implementation of the fuel integrity solution, which is fuel marking, which we also have done successfully a year ago. The fuel marking has helped us to stop any under-declaration and any diversion or anything, and as such, the month of March, we are able to collect over 593 million in a single month. we were able to collect the tax on fuel alone. We collected over 593 million. And that is why I said, let's all pray that we have peace in this world. Because if everything remains the same, and we are getting 593, probably next month we are expecting to have over 600 million. But only to turn around because of the war that is going on. And prices have jumped up to a point that government has to come up with a subsidy of over 300 million. So we all have to pray and for peace to happen in the world, not only in the Gambia, but the whole world, because that is good for us. Certain things happen in other parts of the world, it affects us negatively. And the situation we are today is not the making of Gambia, but these are things that happen in other parts of the world, and it's affecting us negatively. We started very well the year. Over the past two months, we collected above 500 million on fuel alone. Last month, we collect over 593. My thinking was, we are going to go above 600 million. Only turn around and then see the fuel prices going up like this. And then, as a result, we have to go through subsidizing the pump prices. So we hope for the best. Let's hope for the best. We put our fingers across that everything will come back to normal. Development of M&E system in 2024 to assist the successful tracking of the key performance indicators and reforms initiatives outlined in the corporate strategy plan. These are some of the projects that we have gone through, and through the help of the government, we are able to get them through. But we also have some ongoing projects that from here against end December 2026, we hope that all things being equal again. In economics, we said all things being equal. That is, if everything remains as it is. We should be able to see through some of these projects. One among them is the ITAX, Integrated Tax Administration System. I am sure you are aware that we've been doing a lot of sensitization on ITAX. That we want to bring this system so that the collection of domestic revenue will no longer be in the form of analog, but it will be a digital form. It will be a web-based system so that all of you will be able to, those of you who are taxpayers, will be able to sit in your comfort areas and do your registrations, do your filing, and do your tax payments without talking to anybody, but you only interact with the system. This is system we are working very hard with our partners, ArabSoft, based in Tunis, and we are working with them very hard to make sure that the first phase of the system, before end of this year, it will be implemented. So that's one project that is ongoing. Implementation of the e-invoicing for VAT and other taxes. We've started the building of this system. This, you all aware that a lot of businesses are collecting VAT on behalf of GRA. But we want this system to be transparent. And as such, we are developing a system where it will be such that when the collections are happening, we will see it in real life. We will get the data. And at the end of the period, it's a question of we have already something on the table, and then we know exactly how much you are supposed to give us. And that's why we are coming up with this system. It is called the VAT electronic receipting. And we are building the system with our partners, and it's coming very soon. We hope that on or before December 2026, we'll get that. Implementation of revenue assurance and fraud management system for mobile network operators and fintechs. In short, revenue assurance. We are building up another system we built, and this is going to be working with telecoms, the GSM companies, so that at the end of the month, it's no question of we go to GSM companies and said, how much are you paying us? But we will use our system, because the system we have a similar one. We see exactly how much our revenues will be. And this system also, we're very hopeful that in few months, we will start the implementation of this. These things are possible because we have the support of the government. And we hope that all this will also add to the revenue that we are collecting. Another reform that we are on, which is also ongoing, is the rental income compliance software. You all have properties, and the properties are increasing. If you come from the airport, you come in towards Banjul, you see so many buildings. And most of these buildings are not necessarily the owners are going to use them residents, but they are on commercial basis. And in order to make the people to come forward to pay, tax payment is not easy, you all know that. For people to just go, you know, and pay hundreds of thousands, millions, it's not easy. So sometimes we have to deploy some of this system so that we can identify those properties wherever they are. And then we call their owners to come forward and pay. And this is why we have the rental income software. I have a statistics that indicates that in the rental income software, the first 3 months of the year, we are able to collect over 88 million. Because the rental income software, half of it, we have already covered Banjul and KMC. Now we're doing the other half as the West Coast region, which is currently on progress. But the ones that for KMC and Banjul is up running. And through the help of that tool, we were able to get 50% on top of what we collect last year. Last year, the same period, January to March, we collected over around 44 million when we started developing the system. Now we deployed the two phases, Banjul and KMC, and we are able to collect over 88 million just from the rental income. So you see, when this system is complete, we are going to see a jump in the rental income side. We are still developing it, but because part of it is finished, and that really is very helpful in terms of our revenue collection. And finally, on the reforms, for the time being, because we will never stop bringing technology to our work, but for the time being, due to time, we are also putting up a centralized payments monitoring system for betting and gaming. You have all realized that we have a lot of gaming activities that are happening in the country. And these winnings, they are supposed to pay tax. But if you don't have a system where they are, it will be very difficult to get the right tax from them. And this has come to the knowledge of GRA and Ministry of Finance. So we work together to deploy a system on this gaming. And the system also, we are on the process. We're trying to finalize that level so that we can deploy the system in this area, because we think that there is a revenue potential in that area. So this, among other things that we are doing, and we are very hopeful that once we are able to get all these systems in place, it will be very helpful. As we always said, that the way forward for Africa is the right thing is, the right answer is, we should concentrate and make sure that we increase efficiency, we increase technology, we increase reforms for our domestic revenue mobilization. Once we are able to do that with a proper leadership, because everything above is leadership, with a proper leadership, we should be able to help our country in terms of domestic revenue. These are some of the things that I wanted to share with you. But on a final note, I wish to acknowledge the government of the Gambia, particularly our principal, the head of state, the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, the entire executive, and under the leadership of the President, Adama Barrow, for providing us the environment for businesses to thrive, for ensuring peace and stability, which are essential for our investment and economic growth. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot do all these things without peace and security. And creating the environment for us to be here, then we can do what we are doing. So it is also the duty and responsibility for every citizen or non-citizen that is doing an economic activity in this country, to make sure that you become tax compliant. If you are not on board, try to be on board. If you are on board, try to do your best so that at the end of the day, the government will also be in position to use those resources to maintain peace and stability in this country. Once again, the Gambia Revenue Authority remains committed to excellence, accountability, service to the nation. We will continue to build on this momentum to ensure that we deliver on our mandate for the benefit of everyone living in the Gambia. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Commissioner General. It's an elaborate, substantial, very well loaded, but good report, positive one and that. So our taxpayers are the reason why we are here. And so we'll continue to celebrate them as much as we celebrate other stakeholders. And so sometime in June, all things being equal, like CB said, and borrow from you, we will host our 2025 May tax award, right? And so that we continue celebrating them, so we'll continue collecting more revenue. On that note, I will invite questions from the floor to the subject. Kindly nothing outside the subject. Isaba, then the corner.
All right. Thank you very much, CJ. Isaba was supposed to be. Now, in your statement, you did say that you've forgone over 300 million GRA revenue this month. Now, is there any way effects of the conflict in the Middle East is also affecting tax collection in GRA? And also, where does the effects of the conflict leave GRA in terms of its introduction of new initiatives and the advancement and its advancement? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that question. You know, we live this world now. We are all interdependent. What happens in the Middle East can easily affect what is happening here. We have seen the Russia-Ukraine war when it started, how it affects the international trade. Prices started going up, you know, to a point that it affects the Gambian consumer. Similarly, the Iran and US war or Israel war is affecting, because you know that transportation of fuel has a problem. And we got most of our fuel from that side of the world. As such, it has affected the price of the fuel going up. You know, we don't produce fuel in this country. We import and then after we sell. So if the price of the fuel where it is coming up goes up, there is no way in the country here it can go down. So this is exactly what happened. It's because of the war there, the prices are going up. And this is global. The world is globalized now. We are all living in a global world. What affects one part of the world, it affects the other part. So because the prices have gone up in the world market, consequently, the prices in the Gambia also has to go up. And now what happened? What brought this subject? If the prices have gone up, the government of the day, if the government want to leave the pump price to go that, it's just too high. And you know, the government is here for the people. And that is why government is taking that bold step, that responsibility to cushion the price and then pay on behalf of everybody over 300 million. Ordinarily, this would have been a revenue that I would have going to receive. But because the government has seen the signals that due to the price going up, now we have to step in and sacrifice over 300 million so that the pump price will be at certain level that will not be too high. This is what happened. Now our worry is, how long do we have to do that? That's why I said we all need to pray so that these wars will stop. Because otherwise, we don't know where we are heading to. It can escalate to a point, it might even be beyond the control of the government. This month we are foregoing 300 million. Probably next month, who knows? It could be far, far more than that. And then the subsequent month. So if God help us, the war stops, maybe things can come back to normal. And if that happens, we've collected 593 million on fuel last month. We are thinking of going up to 600-700 million only on that revenue head, because we have different revenue head. But we were very positive and very happy with the developments, with how we secure their fuel area in terms of bringing in the fuel marking and other things that we are doing, so that we are very hopeful that revenue will just keep going up until we see ourselves in this situation. So this is the situation. The world is globalized. What happens at one side can also affect in the other side of wherever you are. It doesn't matter whether you are in the Middle East, whether you are in this Africa, or you are in this thing, you know. Yeah, maybe we can have other questions.
The last part. I was asking, is there any way this conflict in the Middle East, the effects of the conflict, has affected your initiative, the advancement of your initiative, especially digital initiative?
It said, it's affecting it because we already put systems in place. For example, fuel marking, which is already in place and is making sure that everything that comes into this country goes out, is taxed properly. But because of this problem in the Middle East, the prices have gone up so that, you know, even if you control it, the government may not be able to allow the full pump price, to go for people to buy. It will be too expensive for an ordinary person. So government has to step in, and that's what they did exactly. They stepped in for this month and subsidized about 300 million. And I'm saying that if things continue, that 300 may even go up. So we are praying that the war stops, if that is possible now, as soon as possible, so that, you know, our initiations that we are doing in terms of digitalizing the system will bear fruit. Otherwise, most of our digital programs will be counterproductive because of the negative things that are coming. And again, I just get the freight for containers has already gone up from 500 to 700. This is also another, this is also another thing that's going to affect us seriously. Because once this war is on, it affects the global transportation of shipment. So just the news that the containers that were shipped in this country from either Asia or the other part of the world, about $500, now they have jumped up to $5,000, from $5,000 to $7,000. And that is, the goods are charged on CIF, cost, insurance, and freight. Now, if the freight element alone goes to that level, and then at the end of the day, the businessmen, when they pay all this, they finally transfer that to the consumer. So let us all be prepared mentally that it's not that all that fine. You know, business may not be as usual because of these things that are happening in the world. Now we know, all of us, all of you, you know that the fuel prices have jumped up. All of you now knows that the container freight prices have gone up. Tomorrow, what is going up, who knows? It can affect the commodities itself. It will lead to inflation, obviously. Because at the end, if the businessmen pay all this, they will transfer that to the goods. And when those goods, the prices go up, that is automatically inflation for you. So that is why, in any case, war is not good. We all pray that these wars will stop so we can get our lives back. Yeah. Next.
Next, Aliu.
Thank you very much once again. My name is Aliu Siseki TV. To start with, Sidi, congratulations to you and your board management staff for starting working with this an encouraging and strong, very performance in the first quarter of the year. What is that? I would just like to know from you, despite all these achievements in the first quarter, what will you describe as your major challenges during the first quarter? And also, what are your key priorities for the next quarter? We always have around the world now, it might happen for example. What's going to be your key priorities for the next quarter?
Okay, thank you very much.
My final question, sorry.
Why don't you make it one by one? Otherwise, by the time I finish, I forget your line. After that, you can come. I just want to quickly say something. Thank you for acknowledging the good revenue performance that we've done in the first quarter. But just to tell you that this quarter, January, February, March, our total collection is over 7.7 billion, just for 3 months. In 2015, the yearly collection is 7.6. So the entire year, what we collect in 2015 is collected in 3 months. So that tells you the effect of the systems how effective the systems that we have put in place. Now, going forward, what things are we going to do, knowing what we know that is ahead of us? I think we want to concentrate more on developing more systems on domestic revenue mobilization. Domestic. You know, we have 2 operational departments. We have international trade, which is customs, and then we have domestic taxes that collect domestically. If I tell you this, for the past 2 months, we are struggling with international trade for obvious reasons, because of this war and other things are getting tough, and then the volume is coming down. So what we are prioritizing now is to develop systems for domestic taxes revenue collection. And one of that is the iTax, which I mentioned. We're really pushing that so that we can have that on the web base, as well as the electronic VAT electronic receipting. That one also is very important for us. And then plus the other systems that we are, like the rental income. So that when we have internally, when we are able to get these systems internally, even though we will have problems outside that will affect us, but it will be minimal. Because internally, since Gambia is stable, we will be able to collect something. Well, as long as as far as life is concerned, businesses are concerned. But unless we get those systems up, then it will be very difficult. Because for what happened outside, we have no control over that. And international trade depends on you buy goods outside, put them in a ship outside, in a container and a ship outside, and then to Banjul. And what happens through that transportation, through that loaning, through that purchase is beyond us here. So what is within our control is what we want to put more emphasis on. Whereas you talk about challenges. You know, in life, you always have challenges. Currently, one of the constraints we are having is resources to do what we want to do. We are constrained somehow. We are constrained somehow to do certain things that we want to do. Right? So we are working hard to get more resources so that we will be able to do some of the projects and some of the activities that we have in our strategic plan. One major thing among the constraints is the electricity. You know, we have digitalized our system. The servers are here. They have to run 24/7 to a point that even if electricity goes off, we have to put the generators on. And you know how it costs to maintain a generator 24/7? Very, very, very expensive. So these are some of the things that really, among other things, we have many challenges, but among other things, this is an area that really we are facing, and it's a very difficult situation for us.
Thank you.
He has a second question. Yeah.
I mean, it's good that you mentioned the challenges. I remember during the inauguration of your building in Jackson, you made a strong plea to the minister regarding the subvention. Could you just comment on that? Has that been addressed as far as the subvention is concerned? With all these issues, you have to face that subvention, it will be difficult for you to implement some of this initiative. And also during your address, I mean, I heard you trying to comment on some sectors for what they are active as
Yes.
is concerned.
Yes.
Can you share with us, are there sectors that continue to underperform policies compliance? And then that's the reason.
Yes.
How serious is it as we speak?
Yes. Well, it's a difficult question to answer for it. As far as the resources are concerned, we are still negotiating with our principal, that is Ministry of Finance, with respect to our subvention. We're still negotiating, and we will never stop negotiating with them. So because at the end of the day, they will also say that they are constrained because what is in the basket is for everybody. So GRA has to get a part and then others have to get. But again, we will never stop negotiation. They did not close the doors for us for negotiation. So we are engaging them on a daily basis, even yesterday, and we will continue doing that so that at one point there will be a window where we will see eye to eye. So as far as our subvention is concerned, that's how we are for doing that. Now, when it comes to those companies that I mentioned, we have so many businesses in this country. We have so many businesses that are under LTU, like taxpayers. We have businesses that are medium and small, right? We have the informal sector. But at the end of the day, these ones that I've mentioned, they have contributed a lot in terms of their tax compliance. They have contributed a lot. There are others that contribute here and there. There are others who are even hiding behind the table. But you know, we eventually will get them, right? But before we get there, it takes time. But these are businesses that are out there, and they make sure that the taxes that they should pay, they come forward and pay it. And that is why it is only fair on my side to make sure that I said that these are people who really contribute a lot in terms of what we are achieving today. Notwithstanding, others are contributing too. But the way these other people are, that is the level that we want to bring everybody, all the other businesses. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How serious is it as we speak?
In terms of? No, that's in the, you know, there is no perfect systems as far as the taxation is concerned. Like I said, tax payment is one of the most difficult things in the world. To part with money, nobody wants to do that. Even you, Ali, if you have import a vehicle today, and they said that you have to pay 150,000, but you have to pay 500,000. You will struggle going in and out. You will go everywhere to make sure that, you know, either it's reasonably, they give you a reasonable figure, or you go to the bank. So it's difficult to part with money, right? So this applies to everybody. It's not only the business, it applies to everybody. So what we can say that, I cannot say 100% everything is right, but I think at least 80 to 90% we have the compliance level. And we'll keep the systems that we are bringing. The systems are forcing people to be compliant. In order to, go out of the tax bracket is difficult. If I give you one example of the digital excise tax, before we brought the digital excise tax, there were so many imports of drinks, these canned drinks, other type of drinks, water, and all the other excisable goods that were coming into this country. Left, right, and center. You wouldn't know whether they are smuggled or that they pay duty. But today, we thank God, every shop that you go, a bottle you see there must have excise tax stamp. That tells you that GRA knows when this bottle was coming into this country. Unlike before. So there was a lot of smuggling going on. But today, alhamdulillah, we thank God. We have a bigger market for producers and importers. Now they are not struggling with those who will just bring containers here and there, or other things in either by road or by sea or whatever. Today, that system, that reform has definitely brought compliance. And likewise, all the other systems that we brought, they all close lack of compliance that is in that tax regime. But the way we do these regimes, where people see it, we are bringing this, we are bringing this. We look at where our revenue source is coming. And we sit down as management and see, are we getting the best out of this particular tax line? And we will say to ourselves, no. Money is there, but we are not getting all the money. For example, the VAT, almost all businesses that are above 2 million are registrants of VAT. And they are collecting VAT on our behalf. In other words, they should be paying it to us on a monthly basis. Are they paying everything? Some of them, not mentioning name, some of them are collecting that VAT from customers, and then instead of bringing that money to GRA, they are not. So therefore, in order to close that gap, we are bringing a system that will indicate that whatever you collect on our behalf, we will see it. And there is no way you cannot pay it. So the systems that we are working with, they are closing gaps of smuggling, under declaration, false declaration. Okay. Yes.
Your name?
My name is Dauda Bayo News Network. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Commissioner General and the team for the brilliant performance, because you have seen on annual basis you are maximizing the revenue collection. So that shows that you and your team are confident. You are competent. So my question goes to the fuel increasement. It is already people start complaining in the town that this is the single largest increment on a fuel pump, double digit. It used to be maybe single digit, but now it goes to double digit. So my question is, at the moment at the world market, the price of barrel of crude oil is around 105, 109, from 60 before the war. Now, if the peace happened to come in Middle East and the fuel is back, is DRA or the Ministry of Finance assuring people that the price will now go back, or they are going to leave it as it is?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. It's very important. I think that's what everybody is waiting for. The peace come back to Middle East, so that the fuel prices will come down. If I may answer that part of that question, that you said, the increase in the pump price. I am telling you, I have said this many times. If government left the increase, the increment, the fuel prices now you are talking, maybe twice of that. If you are buying petrol, maybe 98, you may end up buying petrol 140, 150 dollars per liter. You may end up buying diesel 160 or 170 per liter. But because government has to intervene to say that I cannot allow my people to suffer that way, because this is not their fault, this is not the fault of government. It is the war happening somewhere. Like you mentioned, rightly mentioned, it's the war that happened, it put the price up, and then we have to inherit that price. So what the government did was to come and cushion it by absorbing 300 million on your behalf and on my behalf. So if with your prayers and our prayers, peace come back, and then the price is going down, obviously government will have to follow that trend, because government, is praying that the prices, consumers get the price at a more reasonable. Obviously the cost will be there, because this is not a free thing. But at the end of the day, the prices will have to come down. Just to answer your question. Okay. I'm just giving a brief. Like diesel, the full pass-through price would have been $124 per liter. Diesel. And yes, without the subsidy. And then the current price is about how much? 95. You would have paid $124 per liter. But because the difference, check the difference now. Your pump price and now, every liter you bought, government is giving you $29. That is what government is contributing. That is a significant amount. You go to petrol, the pass-through price should have been $101 per liter for petrol. But currently, the current pump price is about 98. So 98. Now, it means that difference, government has come into play. So it's like government is doing that because most of the people in the street there, they wouldn't understand. Even the price that is there now, like you mentioned, is the highest jump. Yes, is the high, but it's not the highest of the high. It's not the highest of the high. If government stay and close, said, what is happening in Middle East? Well, it's the price. Let's just pay. It would mean that this month it will be $124 per liter. And if that happened, next month it could be more than that. Without mentioning names, even our neighbors, if you make the comparison, you realize that the prices are up. So this is a global issue, and every other country is trying to find a means how to address the situation. We are in a difficult moment now. And everybody has to understand, this is not the time where we should be punching each other. This is a situation which is affecting the entire world. And we should all put our hands together and think, what is the solution to address or to manage until we escape out of this situation? That's my answer to your question.
Sorry, one important question. Sorry for the delay.
And the last one.
No,
And the last one. Now, in your speech, you made mention that the containers also have been
Yes,
increased.
yes.
Even before the increasement. Now, if you go to O.J. Johnson, you go to Bundung and Divakunda, they are the second seaport, they are the second DPA.
Yes.
Because every day you see trucks are following each other from Dakar. Most of now customers or people who are importing are using Dakar ports to bring their goods, and then the vehicles will pick it up from there and drop it, and they'll come and take it. Now, I think it will also be important for government to do a subvention there, so that that price will not be increased, because the more it is increased, the more you are driving everybody to send their materials to Dakar, or when they import, the materials will come to Dakar ports instead of our ports here. And that is making people to lose the revenue collection as well as even the central government.
Okay, thank you. I think I got your point. It's the overland importation. Goods are dropped at Senegal. But you know, in this business that we are, everything is related to cost. Dakar port is bigger. Like if you have Banjul port, you have 10 or 12 of that in one place. That is what is in Dakar. Mol A, D, Trua, Kat, Sek. It's like that. So when vessels comes from what they charge on freight from Dakar to Europe or America or somewhere, what they charge and what they charge for Banjul, Dakar is cheaper. Because bigger vessel, bigger ones, twice, that can come to Dakar, they cannot get to Banjul. So as a result of that, when they are coming, they take a lot and they just empty in Dakar. The ones for Dakar stay, the ones for Banjul come in. That is cheaper in terms of freight and also faster. And in other words, in some cases, you may even say that those vessels cannot come here. So you have no choice. You have to drop them to Dakar, and then they use overland to come to Banjul. So it will be very difficult for government to subsidize that situation. It will be very difficult. All we can do is we pray that we improve the situation of our ports so that some of the vessels can come, you know, and then that will help, that will make some of the ones that are going to Dakar to, you know, to come to Banjul. But to say that subsidy will be out of it. Government cannot subsidize that. However, you know, we have to understand that this is international trade and we deal with businessmen. And businessmen, they always want to check and balance where they can make some little margin here and there. Whether it's from the freight, whether it's from the insurance, whether it's from the cost. Wherever they can have some savings, they go in for that. But we are cognizant of that fact, yeah.
Thank you.
Another one?
Any more?
Yes, allow them.
Any more? Going one, Kex?
Yeah. So no worries. Allow them to ask until any time. Yeah.
You made mention of increase in revenue collection. One will ask, where will you attribute this increasement in revenue collection? Is it the mechanism that GRA have put in place, or because of the citizens and tax compliance? I want an answer to that.
Okay.
And also you talk about, we all know that GRA is moving away in terms of digitalization, to digitalize their system in order to be effective in tax collection. And now you are taxed to do what we call subsidize. Will this affect the process of GRA moving away from the normal process of digital process? Or one may ask, why not the other public enterprise, why the tax was given to GRA to subsidize? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kex, for that question. If you follow some of the reports that have been given, I said in 2015, the annual collection was 7.6 billion. 2026 today, first quarter of the year, our collection stands at more than 7.7 billion. So what is really the cause of that? I think that is what you are asking. This is because of the systems that we are deploying. I made mention of so many systems here. And those systems, they help in terms of tax compliance. They help in terms of closing any smuggling that might happen or any under declaration that might happen. For example, you go to the ports today. There is a state-of-the-art digital scanner. That scanner, you put something in there, it indicates everything. Whatever any type of commodity that is in the container, it's indicated. So that shows you that if somebody wants to bring goods and do a false declaration or under declaration, the scanner is there and the scanner will close that gap. Unless you are drunk, you will not try to attempt that because you know that when you come, you will be trapped. So those are the kind of thing. You do also at the ports there, we have what we call the digital scale weigh bridge. The weigh bridge that brings in, that weigh in every bulk cargo that comes in. The bulk cargos here is sugar, rice, flour, and cement. Those ones don't come in container. They are loose cargos, they just come in. And when they come, before they go out, they have to go through the weigh bridge. So that at the end of the day, the weigh bridge will capture exactly how much metric tons are from the ship and how much did the consignee declare. If there is difference, we say go and pay. So you know that is there, unless you are crazy again to go and under declare. So these are the kind of things that you are forced to be compliant. Nobody will tell you because you know that if I go this way, there is a policeman there. So obviously I will not go that way if you have something that you have stolen. So I'm just making a talk of that. I'm saying so that is how it is. Because of the systems that we have put in place, the reforms that we put, that is what is helping us. Of course, it goes with leadership as well. Systems cannot work by themselves. We have also professional staffs that are placed everywhere, and we are making sure that the management is monitoring, supervising, and then these systems help us to get what we are getting today. Now, your second question is whether these wars and these things that are going will affect our digitalization.
Whether the subsidy that you have,
the subsidy
will affect your transformation to digital.
Okay. Yeah, the subsidies will not affect our digitalization drive. It will not, because what we are trying to think instead, knowing what we know, that there is difficulties in the world, and we have no control over that. But what we have control is what we do. As every human being, you are always faced with situations. Now, what you do, things that are under your control, you try to manage that. Things that are beyond you, you can think about them, but you can't do anything about it. So DRA situation is like that. We are going to do more, put more pressure on developing our reforms internally. So the ones that will get us revenue internally. Like I mentioned, iTax, which we are developing now, and we are pushing it so that it can get ready. It can help us to get more revenue. We are pushing for the VAT electronic receipting, which is internal, so that we get more revenue. We are pushing for rental income, and we are putting also the revenue assurance. These are all internal. We have control over them, and they can help us greatly in getting more revenue. Even if we have trouble for international trade, which is above us, but we internally will be able to get these systems on so that we manage until we see ourselves out of this situation. Right? Okay, next.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. For the first time, I attended a meeting that you hosted. You did not acknowledge the meeting. You missed that.
Yes.
Basically, all my questions were asked by anyone and the rest. Someone just sent me a message and said I should ask you, what are the plans, or are there any plans in place on how the GRA intends to reconcile its number of staffs, huge number of staffs according to the Texas, and the digital transformation that is going on? Because he believes at some point people will have little to do because of the digitalization. How do you intend to, in the long run, reconcile this with the staffs that you have?
Yeah. Thank you. I think that's a very important question, and it's relevant in the sense that when you digitalize a system, it means that you are limiting the human intervention in the work. So what we are doing, we are cognizant of that. What we are doing now is some of our staffs where areas we have digitalized, and usually they were doing things manually. We do deploy them to other areas, right? Because we still have areas where you need manpower. Most of the areas that we think that the digital platform has taken, we try to move some of those staff, because GRA is about 8 departments. You have, most people, when you talk to GRA, they think it's customs, the largest department. You know, we are more than that. We are about 8 departments. You have the customs and excise, you have the domestic taxes, you have finance and accounting, you have the audit department, you have HR, you have technical services, and you have legal and board services. So it depends on which area it is the person is. We can easily move those people to areas where their work will be needed. And we keep doing that. We keep, every time we transfer people from one area department to another where we think that their services are needed. Because digitalization goes with that. Digitalization goes with less human intervention in the system. You allow the system to drive maybe 1 or 2 people in certain places. It's a good question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. One of my staff is telling me to even add that, enforcement also is there. Like for example, when we introduced the digital tax system, the system is introduced, but if we have to appoint almost 25 staffs and put it into in that unit, because you can deploy the system, but if you don't enforce, like one time we went to Brikama and literally closed the whole Brikama, the shops there, because they were not compliant. So people have to go and do that physically. But thank God now they are our good friends. All the shops are compliant now. The whole country, for that matter. The whole country, people are compliant. They are doing exactly what GRA asked them to do as far as the systems are concerned. So enforcement has to be done by human beings. And we recognize that. It's a very important question. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other person? Abla is struggling to raise your hand.
Maybe he's struggling to get a question. You have to get up. You cannot sit down and ask question. No. Director of Technical Science cannot talk here. This is, everything is for me. Yes, and then, yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for your revenue performance. How much was collected for each month in the first quarter?
Okay. Maybe we can provide that information for you. We have the global totals that we have here prepared for this person, but every month how much we collected, maybe we can give you that answer later. The technical service will work on that quickly, and then they can provide that information. That's not difficult. One good thing about GRA, we are very good with statistics. We are very good with numbers. If you ask us anything as far as our work is concerned, within a shortest period of time, you will get it, because we are already on the digital platform. Ask us any questions related to data, we can provide it for you. Compared to what used to happen back in the days, you ask a question or you want data, it's very difficult, because these things were not within the system. But now that we have most of the data in the system, questions like this shouldn't be difficult to get answers. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You are asking for the target or for the collection? Each month. Yeah, January, the collection in January was over 2.4 billion. The collection in February was over 2.09 billion. The collection in March, I've just announced, is over 3.1 billion. So the quarter gives you over 7.7 billion.
Thank you.
So it's a very important question. So as I said, digitally, you got it all?
You said March collection is high.
March collection is the highest. March collection is the highest ever in
That's why if you listen to
the history of,
he said in 2006, what was collected for the year is what we collected in one single month.
March
March 2026.
2006, 2007, 2008, up to 2010. The yearly collection is around 3 billion. Now this year we collect that in a single month. And this is because of the systems that we put in place. And we pray that we have more of that systems in place.
Okay. Thank you. Looks like we have run out of questions.
Yeah.
It's been a great day, and thank you, all of you, for coming. And
I can have a last word, if you don't mind.
okay, CG wants the last word.
I thank you once again, Usman. I wanted to say this. We are always grateful to have the media with us. As I said, you are a partner in development. The media is very, very important in terms of what we do. Today we are here discussing. If it is only GRA, nobody will hear us, nobody will see us. But I can say this freely. As we are talking, we are all over the world. And it helps us because those taxpayers that are there, they are not coming up. When they see this, they hear this, I mean, nobody will tell them, but they will also come on board because they will see what GRA is doing. So you people are our partners, and we will continue to collaborate with you. What we want to tell the general public is business is not as usual these days. Life, things are changing. So all that we want them to do to cooperate and make sure that the taxes that they need to pay, they pay it. At the end of the day, we will be able to sustain ourselves because we need that economic independence. And to have that economic independence, we must get the revenue that we are going to use for the development. When we don't have the resources to use to develop our country, we want to depend on outsiders. Now you have seen what is happening outside. The places where we go and get money, we have all seen what is happening there. They themselves are in trouble in getting something for themselves. So the way out is for everybody out there to cooperate. Whatever you need to pay, you pay it. So that at the end of the day, our governments will use that to go and do the developments that are desired for this country and to keep the peace and stability for this country. Above all, we need to pay our soldiers, we need to pay our police, we need to pay the security people. So in addition to the development, we have other obligations that we do, and we cannot do that without the cooperation of the general public in terms of tax payment. So we are grateful. We want to encourage everybody to come on board because the tax you pay today will develop this nation for you and for generations to come. If we know that, we should all come on board and do our little contribution. We cannot leave this work to be 1, 2, 3 people. We are few people. No, it is the work for everybody. We need everybody's hand on deck as far as taxation is concerned. Even if you cannot contribute the monetary terms, if you have a good idea, our doors are open. You can tell us that idea you have. Probably that idea can help us to move another step. Because we, at the level of GRA, we believe that we have to make sure that we depend on ourselves in terms of revenue that we use for our country. This is our vision, and I think we have demonstrated it. Clearly, we have demonstrated that we can collect revenue for this country to depend on. But we need the help of everybody, not only Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance are our principals. We are in touch with them. Whatever we do, we are doing it with them. We want to be grateful to them. We want to be grateful to the minister for his role. We want to be grateful to all the executive, the cabinet, and the people who pay the taxes as well. We want to be grateful to them. We want to be grateful to the head of state for also giving us the support and the political will for all these reforms to take place. Because if we don't have these reforms, I can tell you that it's not possible to collect this kind of revenue. It is the reforms that we have implemented. That is what has helped us to get to where we are. So we want to really thank the executive and all those, one way or the other, who play part in or contribute in getting us where we are today. This business is not an easy thing. You do it monthly, daily, monthly, weekly. And the people that pay, they pay today, you go after them tomorrow again. Either they pay quarterly, or they pay monthly, or they pay every 15, or they pay every import of container they do. And you cannot say that, oh, I have paid my that container last month. I have another container, I'm not going to pay that. No. Any container that you bring, you have to pay. Any vehicle that you bring, you have to pay. So it's like, as long as life is concerned, as long as as far as business is concerned, this business will be here. People will have to pay. So the only way out is we need to work with you. GRA is your GRA, GRA is our GRA. We are all in together. And we are in together for the development of this nation. We have no other country more than Gambia. And nobody is going to come to Gambia to develop the Gambia for us. We have to develop this nation for ourselves and for our children that are coming and our grandchildren. We have to lay down the foundations so that our children that will be coming in the future will also step in those foundations. And doing that is a collective work. It is not the responsibility of only the board of directors of GRA, neither the management of GRA, but it's for the entire nation, either Gambian or non-Gambian. Once we are in peace and stability, then businesses can work well and everybody will enjoy. So I thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.
CP has closed the meeting on a high note. Let us believe in ourselves and continue paying the taxes we pay for today and for generations to come. Thank you very much. I think on that note, we will close with a prayer and we call it a day.